right. Hi, I'm Eliza Tan, Senior Partner Manager on the Adobe Digital Video and Audio team. And today I'm joined by someone who's been shaping the future of creative tools for decades, Bill Hensler. Thank you for joining us. You're the VP of Digital Video and Audio, and more recently, 3D and Immersive at Adobe. Before we talk about what you're up to now, you have a really interesting background yourself. You're a founder, software engineer, spent over a decade at Adobe previously as VP and chief technologist. You also co-founded a company that brought VR and AR into the enterprise space. No small feat. And now as VP of DVA and 3D&I, you're leading the charge of defining the future of products such as Premiere Pro, After Effects, and more, along with others. So what led you back to Adobe?
The flippant response, but accurate, is boredom, loneliness, and AI.
Having been in this industry for a while, Bill, what are some meaningful shifts that you've observed in the past decade when it comes to the video landscape?
Oh, past decade. I've done video for well before the past decade. Well, I'm going to leave out AI because that's obviously the biggest one, but that's not been the past decade. I mean, it's been slowly working up to Gen AI, and it's been improving things. But the main thing that has happened in video that didn't happen to the decades before is just it's basically just a regular medium. We used to be the video group off to the side at Adobe and used to video. Now your iPhone shoots 4K. About any device you buy can edit video as well as it ever could. You used to have to get an incredibly souped up machine to do video. Your iPad and iPhone can cut video. It's pretty impressive. And the part you have, you can create content, but if you can't get it out there, well, okay, you got a hobby for yourself and some friends. Distribution is as easy as you want. You know, you don't have to have somebody decide if your content can be seen by people, that they get to decide on so many platforms for so many purposes. So from capture to creation to distribution, everything is basically so easy and cheap. I mean, I used to sell boxes for that's places I work that started at 40K.
Right.
And so that you can put together, a laptop and get an iPhone and get something on YouTube that's kind of limited by your talent as anything else is amazing.
Right.
And then add AI to it where we don't even know all the things it's going to do. It's scary, powerful. I mean, there's scary parts of it and there's powerful parts of it. And it was one of the things that brought me back because honestly, all the things I talked about, it was like, that's just Moore's law in a way. And yeah, that was going to happen. But the ability to rethink what storytelling with film or video is going to be, that's what interests me in coming back.
Yeah, no, I love how you tied that back to your first question about why you came back as well. And like you're saying, the floodgates are really open and everyone has a story to tell. And if the tools will allow them to do it, there will be all kinds of people shooting video and telling stories through video. And I think that ties in well to my next question. How do you balance long-term thinking with how fast this industry is evolving?
Well, it's always moving fast. You just always think it's faster in the time you're at.
Yeah.
It seems faster now because you get so much information and telling you all the changes. But when I first started doing nonlinear editors, there were 30 to 40 nonlinear editors out there with whole different approaches and everything else. Their cycles might have been a little slower, but the explosion of what it was and how we were going to use it was still there. But I always look at you're making tools, and to me, if you're looking longer term, what are the immutable things independent of the technology that no matter what you have to do, you have to support? And I look at all creative tools, actually kind of all tools, about how do you make mistakes faster? Because if you really look at what tools do, from going from drawing with an eraser to being able to go, and you get to digital. What's digital give you? Undo is one of the greatest things ever you can draw. And it just allows you to make mistakes faster, because there are a few artists who could take a brush or do something and get it perfect on the first try. But most artists are on a journey to find their vision.
Mhm.
And it's one of the reasons why nonlinear became successful. It allowed you to find things in music, in video, and you find your story in this case. So how, when I look at whatever we're doing, like in Gen AI, one of the largest problems is its speed. I
Mhm.
type or whatever, I guide or something, and now I'm waiting, and now I'm waiting. And if you look at what's come out lately on people telling stories about them doing stories, it's fun to hear Gen AI is learning the term shot ratio, because
Mm.
you have to do multiple clips to get the one clip
Yeah.
that you're willing to be happy about. And it's really slow.
Yeah.
Now it still
Love
might be faster in grabbing a camera and going out to location and everything, but
it.
when you're sitting at your desk, it just feels interminably slow. So there's a lot of improvement. And that's what I mean. Make mistake faster. If I type a prompt or I guide an image or I give some keyframes and I get it and it's not right,
Mm.
how can I do that?
Right.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things, but always comes to me, how do you make mistakes faster?
Right. And workflows kind of evolve around those tools as well.
Yeah.
And I think we're at that same inflection point and moment where that's happening. So yeah, that was really well said. And you mentioned the importance of third parties, and a huge champion of extensibility yourself. Why would you say extensibility is so critical to Adobe's vision for its video and audio products specifically?
Uh, well, one, it's been historically our path to being great tools for our partners. We can't think of everything. We'd like to think so, maybe. But a long, long time ago, Adobe added plugins in our applications, and we kept building out the APIs. And there's always going to be areas that are underserved or
Mhm.
misunderstood, or honestly, we didn't do as good a job. And there's an opportunity for somebody to do a better job. And so that to me is one of the things that is all Adobe apps are
Yeah.
platforms. And so you get the benefit of having a tool, but you also get the benefit of other people willing to make your tool better. And I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that. We don't have a monopoly on intelligence. Like, a new platform does not change any of those immutable things. You can't do everything. You're not the smartest person. Let other people help you and help themselves. So
Yeah.
turn your tools into platforms.
Yeah, no, and what I'm hearing from that is it's not just intelligence, but humility as well. And we're really dependent on the ecosystem. And
Oh, no one's really ever referred to me as being humble, but yes, recognizing you can't do
yeah,
everything is an important thing. Plus, you get to work with great developers and people who
right,
have ideas, and you have that moment like, oh, we should have thought of that, but oh, awesome, someone thought of that and did a great
right,
job.
right.
So I
And
go to
well,
AE Scripts and I'm like, oh, I never would have done that. I never even thought of that as a problem. And now it's like, oh, well, let me download that little thing. So I think it's Adobe. Well, not that we're the only ones that do extensions, but I think we've done the best job out there in maintaining it over decades, and it's only done helped us and helped our users.
right. So many benefits of an open ecosystem, and our partners have
Yeah.
taught us a lot, even about our customers. Thank you for being such a champion of extensibility. It's something else I've heard about you and praise about you from other Adobe teams too, is just your ability to relate to um, our our engineers, whether Adobe developers or third parties as well. You started as a software engineer yourself,
Yeah.
but large engineering efforts and teams still are. How would you say that influences your current relationship with development and developers today?
Uh, Empathy.
Mm.
That'd be the most important one. I've been there. I've been late. Uh, and curiosity, because I do want to actually, like, wait, how did you do that? Especially if it's something I like, oh, I don't know how you do that. So I have a curiosity on the technology. We
Mm.
also have a whole research arm at Adobe, which are like, oh, I get to talk to super smart people, about this area. And Adobe is like a toy shop of talent. So if you're curious, there's almost any question you can find an answer to. And sometimes it's the person who invented it. And so
Right.
that's actually fun. Um, I guess empathy, curiosity, and obviously a little jealousy of their talent. It's like, well, I don't know if I was that good as an engineer. And I actually recently programmed when we started the Pixvana. I was the first programmer, so I wrote our Electron app. I had to learn Amazon until, thank God, we hired people that knew back end better than me. But most of the front end and all the testing infrastructure, I wrote most of that.
Right. Yeah, empathy, curiosity, I love that. I think probably helps with decision making as well. Like many of the most successful founders and company of successful companies were engineers themselves, and I think yeah, that's a really unique and well-rounded traits and background you have. So yeah, thank you for
And a
sharing
frustrated
that.
artist. So that's always helped me too, since
We're
I've
all
only
frustrated.
made tools for artists. I've never wanted to make anything else. So I've done photography, I've done actual sculpting. I actually got into engineering because I couldn't afford Parsons. So I got accepted to Parsons in high school. And then my father was like, oh, that's cute, how much money that costs. And so I went to go study electrical engineering, and I found programming because from that, and I actually loved programming.
Mm,
And the first thing, of course, if you like programming and you're really not interested in banking, is how can I do a game? And so I
mm.
got into video through games. But
And some would argue the future is interactive and immersive,
yeah.
so
Oh,
I don't
yeah. When event loops came out and
interactive.
you're like,
Yeah,
oh, it's not everything's batch. I was like, well, do you mean like every game out there? So it was nothing like that. And that's actually fairly common. I was learning the number of people who got into graphics tools programming who actually program games or were
yeah,
in a you know, um, different demo scene or something. If you're in Europe on 8-bit demo scenes or something, it's all basically how did you do interactive, cool,
right,
reactive things and
right.
learning the program. So,
And consider you an artist, and in a world that where we're trying to monetize everything, the frustrated artists and just championing their cause, I think is always worth doing, and with the tools
well,
that
the
we're using.
frustration is because what you imagine it to be versus what you're actually achieving.
Mm,
So it's that rolls back why make mistakes faster. I actually know what it feels like to like,
right,
that's not it. That's
right.
not it. Can I tell me what it is? No, but if I see it, I'll know what it is.
Well, when it comes to Premiere Pro, the industry leading video editor, looking ahead to what excites you about the future of video and audio, what should the next generation of toolmakers be paying attention to?
Well, back, how do you make mistakes faster?
Mm,
So if you see something Premiere isn't doing in a way that can help somebody find their creative flow or thing, do that. If you look at some of the plugins out there, we have ones that'll do effects and do things that Premiere doesn't do. We have a lot in After Effects and Premiere that just makes that you're able to use your tools faster and more efficiently. And you could say, yeah, maybe Premiere should do that. Probably so, but somebody else did it.
yeah.
And it gives that opportunity because we can't do everything at once. And I think it's a combination, but it all comes back to great. How do you let that person stay in the flow
Mhm,
and figure out what they're trying to do?
mhm.
That's always an opportunity. Um, I think it just does. I can't really get any more clear than that. You help artists with it, um, help them find what they're trying to do,
Mm,
and it could be some visual effect, or it could be, how do I just make your hands never leave the keyboard because you're in flow.
right,
Um, I think that's just always the opportunity.
right.
Um,
Bill, if you had to give one piece of advice to emerging companies or startups building in the video space, what would that be?
well, let's say about Gen AI, we're at a phase of Gen AI. So there's an expression. It isn't how well the elephant dances, it's the fact that it dances at all.
Mm,
That's where we are with AI. We're just enamored it can do it.
mm.
But eventually people start to, like, yeah, the elephant dance is cool. That's nice. Can I do what I need to do with it? And we're emerging in that stage now. You can see all the controls. So people are starting to ask, well, how well can this elephant dance? So that is where you have to, focus on. Now, as one of my artistic areas, and actually the one I've done the longest, I've been a magician, a non-performing magician, but I've been one for years. And magicians are trained to think effect first, method later. And
Mm,
if you think method first, because sometimes you just gotta, oh, this is awesome. This is a great method. It'll fool people. Doesn't mean it's a good trick. Just means fooling and entertaining are whole completely different things.
right.
Like, you know, uh, so thinking effect, what is the impact I'm going to have? And then looking at your availability of technology to do that. So that is always what you should be looking at is what is the effect I can have, then work backwards to what's the technology. I think a lot of Gen AI and some other things, they start with the technology and they're not looking at the effect. That would be it. I will also give one bit of advice I've always given to people when they're looking at media as a technology. Audio always leads video. If you want to know video where video is going to go look at audio.
Yep. You hit on a really important point. We often get caught up in the how and not the what and what we're truly solving for our customers.
Yeah.
So that is our
Nobody
time.
should really care how you do it in software. It should just magically happen. I mean, that's kind of what Apple, oh, it just magically happens.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
one of their first designers was also an amateur magician.
I
And
love
so,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and that brings it back to why we're doing all of this to begin with, right? And the heart of the matter. So, yeah, really appreciate the conversation, Bill.
Oh,
That is,
thank you, Elise.
believe we'll now be passing it over to our product and engineering teams for more of a deep dive into Premiere Pro extensibility.
On to them. Thank you.
Developers Live. Developers Live. Developers Live.